Hello and welcome to The Mill. I am your host, Dusty Crane. This week we are going to be talking about the February 2019 Stonemaier newsletter and the Wednesday Facebook live stream. We're going to be talking about the only thing we can be talking about right now, and that's not Wingspan this time around. That is Euphoria, Ignorance is Bliss. That's right, Euphoria, that 2013, I think, Kickstarter darling for Stonemaier about a tongue-in-cheek dystopian, I guess, city that's ironically called Euphoria, is getting an expansion finally. Morten and Team Automa have been working on this for ages. It's been through many iterations. It's finally here, and I think it's safe to say that, you know, I'm seeing a lot of excitement for it. I'm excited for it. So day one in the live stream, Jamie had said, I'm just going to tell you it exists. I'm not going to go into too many details because I'm going to go ahead and roll out information like I did with Wingspan, which I thought was a really clever way to do it. I like the little by little information trickle that comes out day by day. It gives you something to wake up and run to your computer for, or if you're on the East Coast, you wait for Jamie to wake up and run to his computer for. But the live stream was just the acknowledgement that this thing exists. It is a thing that will be available soon. Jamie did mention the release date, and I'm going to look at my notes for this, and that is there's a very limited pre-order window from February 27th through March 2nd. That's very limited. Now, I know that now you see people coming into the Wingspan group, and they're like, why can't I get this game yet? Well, you can get this game if you're looking forward to Euphoria, Ignorance is Bliss, in that window, that February 27th through March 2nd. And you don't necessarily have to be a Stonemaier champion, but you'll get it shipped to you that much sooner. Just make sure you pre-order in that window, or else you'll have to wait for the retail release, which is 2 months later. So let's talk about what Ignorance is Bliss is. Jamie did mention that in that live stream that Ignorance is Bliss is three things. It is a alternative stuff expansion, a alternative player count expansion, and a improved rules expansion. And I'm going to go into each one of those just of what he shared with us. So in terms of the day one release of information that he put out on the Euphoria Facebook group, which I will link in the show notes, that first day he talked about an alternative stuff expansion and what that meant to him. That's alternative markets, that's alternative recruits, and that is to improve the rules. Now, in terms of the alternative markets, I'll post a picture of that right there, and we can see that we have, what is this thing called? This shop is the Institute of Orwellian Optimism. I really do like the tongue-in-cheek kind of jokey nature of some of these shops or these markets in Euphoria, but we can see that it has a cost of a balloon and a electricity and a Bliss token. Now, when I first saw Jamie post this picture, I thought people are probably going to lose their minds a little bit about the cost of this market, because you see the balloon cost there. In the original Euphoria, one of the perceived weaknesses of the game was the luck of the draw on the deck. You know, if you wanted to do your moral dilemma card and you needed a teddy bear or you needed balloons, you were kind of at the whim of the luck of the deck, you know, whether or not you could get that available to you. Well, that has been done away with, because in the day two reveal, Jamie talks about the Antique Bazaar. That is I'll post that right there. It's a board where you're going to lay those cards out across the Antique Bazaar, and the first one that's available, if you are to draw an antique or you're going to draw something, it's free. The next two spots you pay 1 commodity, and the final spot you pay 2 commodities. So you do have the ability to kind of mitigate your luck. It may cost you a little bit more, but that's one of the improve the rules things that was added to the game. In terms of the alternative markets, you'll notice that at least in this particular market, you're going to see those antiques or those objects being part of the cost of, I would assume, more markets. We definitely see it here in the Orwellian Optimism market. So we also have the player count expansion or aspect of the expansion. We see that a Team Automa has developed a Automa for this game. This game now runs 1 to 6 players. The Automa deck that you see in the pictures, you can see a little bit of, there's a black and white piece of the card. That's because this Automa deck, you're not running just one player. Looks like you're running two. So Jamie had mentioned in the comments that it can make a one-player game feel like a three-player game, or a two-player game feel and play like a four-player game. And if Wingspan is any indication, the Automa is probably very easy to run. I think probably Scythe was the most difficult one of their Automa, necessarily so because of how complex that is, but we are finally going to have the ability to play Euphoria Ignorance is Bliss solo. We also have the last piece, I think, that was teased, and that was the Improve the Rules. I already mentioned how they were dealing with that Antique Bazaar. One of the things that's also come up is people tend to... There's some strategies that revolve around the Ichorites that they go ahead, and the Ichorites play different anyway. They don't have tunnels that you're burrowing into Euphoria. So a lot of people have built a strategy around just playing the Ichorites, and when you start the game and you have your choice of your two factions, they pick the Ichorites, and that kind of causes the Ichorites to move faster along that track there at the bottom so that you can gain more resources. That has been addressed too. When you look at the rule book, Jamie shared just today, so that would be Saturday, which would be day 3 of the reveals. He mentions that now the starting track, so when you're in the tunnel, I guess this is two things. I went off a little crooked there, but so when you're starting with the tunnel, depending on your player count, if you're playing with a full count of people, then you'll go ahead and start there at that first spot on the start spot. If you're playing with 4, you move a little bit further down the tunnel. Playing with 3, a little bit further down the tunnel. And so the less people that are playing, the closer you are to reaching the end of the tunnel so you can access those resources. What I kind of started talking to you guys about was how they're addressing the fact that people tend to pick the Ichorites. Is there's now a thing called majority faction. So if you guys are all sitting around and you remembered, hey, I try and be the Ichorites every single time, if you reveal your recruit at the beginning of the game and everybody but one person is Ichorites, then the person who is in the minority actually gets to choose 2 commodity tokens. So you do get a little bit of a head start if you have, half of the people choosing one and kind of split between the others. The minority people, the minority faction will have that benefit of the 2 extra commodity resources right off the gate. Maybe that helps you get you a card. Maybe you use it just to, maybe get yourself an extra worker. Whatever, it's your choice. I think that is definitely going to help with some of the perceived weaknesses of Euphoria. And I know for a fact that one of the things I have heard that maybe people hesitated on Euphoria was the lack of an Automa, and it's not always possible to get a whole group to your table. So what we're seeing so far out of Euphoria Ignorance is Bliss is pretty exciting. I mean, it's addressing perceived weaknesses. It is alternative markets. It is alternative recruits. And I'm sure Jamie will be sharing more about what it is here leading up into that pre-order window, as has been the case so far. How excited are you for this expansion? I know that I'm pretty excited for Euphoria Ignorance is Bliss. I think it looks like it addresses all those things that, maybe were, I guess, perceived weaknesses. But was there anything that's been revealed so far that you really like the look of it? Were you waiting for the Automa? Are you excited about that Antique Bazaar? Let me know in the comments. I am going to go ahead and cut it short this week, and I will see you next week, and we'll go ahead and run through everything Jamie's revealed again so far, and I will talk to you then. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.